Hi everyone, I thought I would do a little bit of a show and tell today. Just show you a few things that I've gotten lately. Some of them are witchy things and some are just a few books that I've purchased to read, which are fiction that I thought, since I'm showing you some other things, I might as well share all of them with you. So I wanted to start by saying that the Ceccoli Tarot, and I apologize if I'm saying her last name wrong, arrived on Sew for me. So I actually finally have the tarot deck. Now it is published by Lo Scarabeo, so you can see that it is the typical Scarabeo size, which is kind of longer and thinner than we traditionally see our tarot decks. And some of us can't stand that, and some of us don't mind it. But it didn't matter who published the deck. I knew that this is a deck that I wanted once I saw her incredible illustrations, which to me, they are ethereal and in some ways almost childlike, but it's really taking us into fairy tale, in my opinion. And I think it's going to be a great deck for shadow work. The images are powerful, and her use of color and tone and symbolism is really, really powerful. So, and I have to say that I fell in love with the deck just looking at the images online, but actually holding the deck and I cleansed the deck this weekend, working with the deck a little bit. I'm finding that I really, really love this deck, and I feel the same emotions that I've had with the Tarot of Vampires deck, with the Tarot of the Hidden Realms deck, and the Mary L Tarot. And if you're a collector, you know that feeling that you get when you know that it's a deck that you're going to keep using for the rest of your life, that this is a deck that's going to walk with you and that you won't be gifting. Or if you do gift it, it will be a new copy for someone else. You'll always have a working copy with you. And this is how I feel about this deck. I am just in love with it. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. So I am excited to continue to get to know the deck and really work with it over the next few months. And you guys know I will have a full review. This is just kind of a reveal for you. But the images are just, I just love them. You know, similar to Jasmine Beckett Griffith. If you love this type of artwork, this kind of pop surrealism, then you're going to be able to read with it very well and connect with it at a deep level. But if you don't like this kind of artwork, then I think this is the type of deck that you probably aren't, going to want to invest in. However, from a collector's standpoint, this is the Lovers, guys. Look at that. From a collector's standpoint, it just doesn't get any better than a unique deck like this. And from someone who is a fan of the artist herself, you just can't ask for more than this in a deck. It's absolutely incredible. There's one image that I really, here's High Priestess, wanted to show you guys. And I've been trying to record this all day, and I found it at one point, and now I need to go through and find it again. Oh, I think this is my favorite image in the deck. And it's I believe it's the Page of Cups, not the Knight, if I remember right from the key. Isn't that beautiful? But the image that I'm really pulled into right now is, I just need to find her. Hold on, guys, bear with me. And I know she's in here. Okay, here she is the Three of Wands. Not a card that usually draws me in like this one does. And if you actually see it in person or on someone who has a better camera than this, her hair is this gorgeous blue color, and everything about the image just kind of pulls me in and inspires me. This is a deck that I think a lot of journal work and writing based off of certain cards I think this is a deck that really, really is going to speak well and work well for that. So here are two other images that I wanted to share. Two of Wands there, and then the Moon. I mean, I am just, I'm so blessed and thankful that I was able to get to purchase the deck and that the deck was created too. I mean, this just doesn't happen. It's really special when you get that feeling with a deck. It's really, really special. And so actually looking at the deck online and hoping to have that feeling, and then holding it in my hands and having that feeling is just so, it's such a gift. So I'm so excited to work with this deck. But other things that I want to talk about besides the Ceccoli Tarot, I have a feeling I might do kind of like a mini series with this deck, just like I've done with the Oracular Spectacular, with the Oracle of the Shapeshifters deck. I've been kind of feeling that I'd like to do a little bit of that with tarot itself, but with certain decks, like Tarot of Vampires, like Ceccoli Tarot, or Tarot of the Hidden Realm, that I think really work well on their own. They have their own energy as well as just the energy of tarot. So I am thinking seriously about doing that, and I will be including the Ceccoli Tarot in that series. Oh, and this is the box, and then this is the little white book, which literally I don't even think there's 20 pages. That's in English, so that's disappointing, but we'll talk about that another time. So my husband and I were actually able to go out on a date this weekend together, and we did one of my favorite things in the world to do, which is go walk around and check out used bookstores and bookstores with new books as well. But we just really walked around some older parts of some towns that we enjoy spending time in New Hampshire, and we had a lot of fun, and we got a lot of interesting things. Not a lot, we got some interesting things that I'm excited to share with you guys today. And only one of these books is actually tarot based, so I guess I'll start with that. Used bookstores are actually one of my favorite places to explore for different books on spirituality, New Age, occult, etc., because you can find out of print things sometimes, and it's also a wonderful way to give an author a try that you might not be sure about, because you're probably only paying $1 or $2 for the book. So it's not as there's not as much pressure with your purchase as you feel when you're purchasing a new book. But I found this book, Tarot Mirror of the Soul by Gerd Ziegler, and this book is based just on the Thoth Tarot. So some of you know, if you've been following me for a while, that I do have the Thoth Tarot, and I have started to work with it. I've started to read Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot, and I started that process in that journey when I was pregnant, but I've had to kind of hit pause with that deck for right now. So I thought that this would be a great book to add to my Thoth Tarot collection for when I actually am able to devote some serious time to studying the Thoth Tarot. So the Thoth Tarot is a system that I think needs to be approached with a lot of honor and respect, and understanding that you're working with a different system than Rider-Waite-Smith. And so to me, it's not a deck that I would approach lightly or not have done my work with before I started reading with others with that deck. So that is a deck that I don't read for others with at this point in time, and that I am looking to do a lot more research into before I start that journey. So I thought that this would be a great addition to it. The book is from 1986, so that's going to be really interesting. And just from a quick glance at it, it's almost like it's like someone's personal guidebook that's based on working with the Thoth, even though they didn't create the Thoth Tarot. So I think it's going to be really interesting, and it's not intended to overtake my understanding the Thoth Tarot. I think it's by Don Lilo Marquette, or you guys know which one I'm talking about. It's one of the most popular ones for the Thoth Tarot. But this is more of just like a quickie, I think, guidebook. Like at each card, there's a page for each card, has a little bit of meanings, and how to read with it. So I think it will be a fun addition, and I was excited to find this at the used bookstore. So, and again, like that cost me $5. So, you know, this is an out of print version, and I think it will be a nice addition to my library and also add some interesting pointers to each of the card meanings for the Thoth Tarot. Okay, so let's talk about some other things that I got. This is a book, this is a fiction novel, and so I have to say to you guys that because I'm such a visual person, a lot of times I'll try new authors based solely on the cover art and how it pulls me in, and this is one of those books. So this is the cover. It's called Longing by J.D. Landis, and he's actually a New Hampshire author, so I didn't realize that, but I thought that was pretty cool. This is the artwork. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I love it. Anyhow, so this is about two musicians, and it's kind of telling the story of their love affair, but also their interactions with and relationships with the public, because they're both pianists. So I think it looks really, really interesting, and I thought it would be a nice departure for me, because it's wonderful for us to be studying and researching and stepping into that like chop wood, carry water type of work when we're readers using our intuitive abilities, following a spiritual journey. But I think that fiction, that novels are not to be discounted in their value for us. First of all, it's good to have a timeout and to allow ourselves to play. But a lot of time I think the narrative tells its own powerful story. I mean, my first introduction to paganism was, I think I was 12, and I was reading Daughter of the Forest by Juliet Marillier, and that is the most influential book that I've ever read in my life. It really showed me a type of connection to other realms, to this realm, that let me know that there was something different out there for me, and something that felt like home and that was home. And so I think that fiction has a very valuable role to play in our spirituality too. So I'm glad that I was able to find some fiction works that I think are going to be a nice like breath of fresh air for me, and also inspire me spiritually as well. So this is one of the books. Then the other book that I got is by Carol DeSanti, and it's called The Unruly Passions of Eugenie R. And this looks really, really interesting. I'll just read you a little bit. Love and war converge in this lush epic story of a young woman's coming of age during and after France's Second Empire, 1860 to 1871, an era that was absinthe-soaked, fueled by railway money and prostitution, and transformed by cataclysmic social upheaval. So it's kind of telling her story through that time period, and I thought it looked really, really interesting. And again, the cover was gorgeous, and the price was wonderful too. So this is another work of fiction that I'm looking forward to reading. So the other book that I picked up, which for those of you who are visual and really inspired by visual artists, and you could tell that I am one of those people. I think if you work with tarot, part of your intuition is really linked to the visual, because let's face it, tarot is a visual spiritual tool. You know, it's a visual art form in and of itself. There are collectors who collect tarot just for the art aspect, not for the divination or the healing aspect. So I found this book on Klimt, and it's called Essential Klimt by Laura Payne. And I found this at the secondhand store. Now, secondhand stores are a really great way to collect art books as well, if you haven't figured that out for yourself yet. So I have quite a few artists whose work I love to have in book form, like in an art book form. And a lot of those range from like the $75 to $300 range if I were to purchase them new. So in secondhand stores, I can find them at a fraction of the cost. And so, for instance, this Essential Klimt book only cost me $10, which is amazing, and I was so jazzed about. Gustav Klimt's artwork I really didn't get into until I was in my early 20s, and his artwork was instrumental in me really taking a leap of faith and stepping out of my comfort zone and really following my own path in a decidedly vocal way. So I have a very fond place in my heart for his artwork, and to this day I still find it to be very inspirational, very important to my daily life. So I've been waiting to find a book on Klimt that had a lot of color prints within the book itself, as well as telling his story. And this book appears to be just what I've been looking for. So, and I really prefer his artwork, the pieces that are not as well known as, say, The Kiss, which is depicted on the cover of this book. I find that there's one, some of his other, I'll just make sure you can see that. Less well-known works are ones that are my favorites. And just really pull me in. So I was so excited to find this, and I know I'll do a lot of journaling with this book and really enjoy working with it. And I have a request of you guys. If anyone has gotten the Klimt Tarot, I can't remember what it's called, like Golden Klimt or something like that. It's a Scarabeo deck, but I'm wondering if it's worth it for me to purchase it because I love Klimt's artwork so much. I don't know if the deck is going to line up with my idea of him and his artwork. So if any of you have that Klimt Tarot, could you please let me know? Just comment below, or however, if you want to message me on Facebook, what you thought of the deck and if you think it's a worthy purchase, because I've been considering purchasing that deck for like 2 years now, and I just can't get off the fence because I'm just a little worried it's not going to live up to this. So let me know what you guys think about that tarot deck. But this was probably my most exciting find on our book journey adventure day that we had together this weekend with my husband and I. So the other thing that I did get is I go through these periods where I have really structured, beautiful journals. And then I go through periods where I just buy like a spiral notebook and I kind of do my own artwork and collage work. So you can see this is Audrey Kawasaki. And then I've got some of the Joie de Vivre Tarot, the one that got destroyed. I salvaged some of the cards and put those as my cover artwork for my journal. So I've been going through this period where it's really collage-y and more the cover artwork of my journal is more inspirational for how I'm feeling at that moment. But I did find a journal when we were out searching that is more structured, and it's really, really gorgeous. And I found this at Barnes & Noble's, and it was really inexpensive. It was only $9. And I just thought, I don't know, this is just so pretty. And I felt like, because I'll be finished with this journal soon. So I thought, well, maybe a little more of a structured journal would be nice to work with next. So I did pick this up, and I just thought it was really pretty. Kind of like going through a little bit of a, well, I'm going through like alternate universes right now, different time periods that I'm kind of spending a lot of energy with. And that Victorian type of feel, like that Penny Dreadful type of atmosphere, if you watch that show, that type of energy and that time period has been very interesting to me, and I think that this kind of goes along with that really, really beautifully. So the other two books that I didn't purchase on this trip, I purchased one of these books a while ago and I'm borrowing the other book. I'm still working through John Wayne, The Life and Legend by Scott Amon. So in the kind of unique childhood that I had, I wasn't able to watch these shows and the TV that a lot of normal kids grow up with. Instead, I was allowed to watch a lot of really old movies, and that was all that was okay in my parents' book for us to watch as kids. Really obscure, like weird things that my parents would let us watch because it was very structured according to the religion that I grew up in. So I spent a lot of time watching movies from the 40s and 50s, even the 30s, and I would say early 60s was really a cutoff point. And I watched a lot of John Wayne movies. And I have a real love for John Wayne, and I have a real love for the archetype that he really created and walked with in his own way, and that he stepped into very visibly in his movies. I mean, he is an archetype in those roles. He's playing with a myth there. And he did it very creatively and successfully. So at a very young age, I was working with these archetypes and mythologies through these older movies that I was watching. So John Wayne has been an actor that I've always had great appreciation for, but also I think his ability to work with animas across the board, because there's feminine energy that he steps into there too if you really pay attention to some of his work. I have great appreciation for that. So I've slowly been chipping away at this book, and I'm really, really still loving it. If you are a fan of John Wayne or just interested in his story, this is a really great biography on him. So, yeah, John Wayne, there's so many layers to my experience with John Wayne and his movies. I could go on for hours. I'm not going to though, because I'll just go on and on. But this book has been really, really interesting to read. And again, just backing up my experience of his working with archetypes in a really powerful way. So the other book that I'm reading right now for my metaphysical classes is The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. Let go of who you think you're supposed to be and embrace who you are. So this has been really interesting. I've just started reading it and I'm having fun with that, but that's something I'm reading right now too. I have reading like 5 books right now. The other thing that I purchased recently is the Sacred Rebels Oracle by Alana Fairchild. If you follow me on Facebook, we were able to get a few decks in early. Earlier even than like Amazon has had this deck available. So I was able to sell one to one of you lovely people out there, and I was really, really excited that we were able to sell one to someone who was really, really excited to work with the deck. And I also purchased one for myself, and this Oracle deck is absolutely incredible. I used it during the retreat that Maureen and I led recently, and this deck is, I mean, a new level of the Isis Oracle and the Kwandian Oracle. So empowering, so awakening and provoking in a very loving, supportive way. And the artwork is really different. Now, I don't love all the artwork, but I think it's all gorgeous and I'm enjoying all of it. And I think that the artwork goes along perfectly with what the messages that Alana's channeling for us in this deck. And this really is about walking your path with wild abandon. So I will have a review of this out soon because I've been working with it a lot lately. And, oh, I have to show you guys this one. Releasing Allegiances has bees all over it. But the artwork is very singular. It's very unique. If you're a collector, you're going to enjoy the artwork in this deck. It's not artwork that you're going to see all over the place. Very unique voice this artist has. So, you know, like I said, some of the artwork isn't necessarily my cup of tea, but it's absolutely beautiful in its own right. And again, fits in perfectly with the theme of this deck. So this deck is incredible. I'm so excited because I've gotten so many great decks lately, and I've just been loving all of them and have not had bad experiences with any of them. So this is a Sacred Rebels deck by Awana Fairchild. I cannot remember the name of the artist right now, but she's wonderful. Very beautiful deck. I also got the Myth and Mermaids deck by Jasmine Beckett Griffith as well, and we were able to sell one of those to one of you too, which is pretty cool. And I am enjoying that too. I just didn't bring it downstairs, and Vincent's napping, so I don't want to wake him up. But Blue Angel has changed the size of the decks, so they're now this slightly smaller size, which makes me kind of sad. I liked the larger size of the older decks, and so I hope that they go back to that larger size. I mean, this is still sizable, like here's the Ceccoli Tarot compared, but I like it. I like Oracle cards to be really, really big, so this is a little disappointing. The size, I mean, and a big difference in the quality of the cardstock as well, which is very interesting to me. But because you guys know how much I love Blue Angels, so but really beautiful deck, Sacred Rebels Oracle. So this is just kind of a little haul, some things I've gotten, some energies that I'm working with right now. I'm so just excited for the Ceccoli Tarot, but also that I found this book on Klimt for such a great price at the secondhand store. I mean the used bookseller store. I just love it when that happens. Isn't that the best? There's something so unique about actually going into the store, and you know, you don't know what you're going to find, and especially with used bookstores, like it's like a hunt, and you can spend hours searching and searching. So I really enjoyed myself this weekend, and I had a lot of fun with my husband. It was really nice to just spend time together. I do have 2 other works of fiction on my to purchase list. First of all, Juliette Marillier's newest book comes out today, and I can't remember the title of it, but if you type it in, you'll see it, and I already purchased that book because I read every one of her books. She's a druid, and she just writes the most incredible fantasy stuff. It's amazing. But anyhow, I have The Prince Lestat by Anne Rice on my to purchase book list, and also Sarah Waters has a new book that looks really good that I'm very excited to read. So I've got those on my budget in for books list, and I'm excited to be able to read those in the near future. But I hope you're all doing well, and I hope you enjoy this little video, little snapshot of my life and the joyful moments in it. Oh yeah, so be looking for that more in-depth tarot series too. I'm really wanting to talk tarot lately a lot, so I will be doing some more videos on that as well. I'm sending you all much love. Thank you so much for sticking with me through all 28 minutes of this video. Sending you all much love and many blessings, and I will talk tarot with you soon. Bye.